Welcome to Delightfully Dysfunctional, a podcast about navigating the emotions of the human condition and the challenges that come with it. I'm Keilani Persian Mason, a psychotherapist and life coach with James Timmons, an ever-curious human. This is not a replacement for mental health therapy. Please seek out mental health care if that's what you're needing. This is an opportunity for self-healers to dive deep and understand more about themselves. Welcome back to Delightfully Dysfunctional. We're back.
We are back. We're back.
I'm Keilani, and I am here with James.
Hi, guys.
And today I'm excited for us to talk about the Enneagram. But first, James, how was our break for you? What were you up to?
Oh, man. I mean, a lot of stuff has happened in my whole world. Had a plot twist. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be moving across the country.
If anyone is hiring, or if there are any good rental homes in the Nashville area.
Yeah, actually. I mean, hopefully by the time this airs, then I will have already resolved all of that.
Right.
But, I mean, if you're single lady in the Nashville area.
Ready to mingle.
Hopefully that will be resolved too. And then we can just be friends.
Oh, dear.
Just kidding. So I'm really excited about that. Not going to disclose too much information just for the privacy of those involved, but it's all good stuff. Nothing bad.
Yeah.
You know. And so so exciting. I mean, I'm still kind of in purgatory world, but we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, change can be kind of daunting and overwhelming. There's a lot of uncertainty, and that's always uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Humans, we don't like uncertainty.
And you guys are moving too.
Well,
right?
there's
to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I wish. You're right. No, new developments for us. I had a full week of bronchitis, so it might still be a little like cough, but feeling so much better. I've been healed.
Good.
And we got some new little chickies, little chickadees.
Yeah,
my daughter
cute
named
blonde
hers
chicks.
St. Patrick's Day Rainbow.
Oh, that's what you meant. I didn't know what you were trying to tell me.
No,
when
that's
you said
the
that.
name of her chicken. Is St. Patrick's Day Rainbow.
I love when kids name things like so oddball because it's way more creative than like, well, I've named my chick Jill.
Yeah, the rest of them, I guess, are technically boring, but still quite cute. Hers is the only one really worth a mention.
The St. Patrick's Day Rainbow? That's the greatest chick name I've ever heard in my life.
Right? Yeah, we got it on St. Patrick's Day weekend, and it's woven right in.
That's amazing.
So we're excited about that. That's super fun. And it was restorative. I also held my couples event, my one-day couples retreat. That went really well while we were on break. And it was just nice to get caught up. And I have some really exciting interviews that will be rolling out. So I'm excited for that to come for all of our listeners too.
Yeah. A lot of exciting stuff. So this is officially season 3. Episode, are those interviews coming out before this?
I think this will be our next one.
Okay.
Yeah. So this will come out next week.
So this will be episode 1 of season 3, the kickoff.
Whoop, whoop.
All right.
Yes.
Well, how are you guys? How has the break for you?
Tell us.
Leave us a comment.
Don't like you're just waiting.
Yeah.
Crickets. Don't be shy.
Just like speak to the screen.
Speak to the screen.
Like Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
How was the break for you? Great.
Muy bien. So today's episode, I thought would be fun. This was something I incorporated into the Rise in Love event that I held last weekend. And it's the Enneagram, which is a really fun tool for personal growth, understanding yourself and improving your relationships. I believe it was really popular in like the 70s, and it kind of made a resurgence. You would kind of had a timeline. You're like, weren't people talking about that like 5 years ago? Yeah.
Kind of looks like a pentagram, right?
Yeah, like the image for it, kind of does.
Okay.
And I suppose, is it 8 or 9 different types? It's 9 different types. Okay. So it's probably the image for it is some kind of shape with 9 sides. I don't know.
Not 6.
I am not an Enneagram expert, but I am someone who is an enthusiast.
Yeah.
An Enneagram enthusiast.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for us to continue delving into the psyche that is James.
Oh.
We're going to pick you apart.
Okay.
We're going to look at it under a microscope. It's going to be fun.
I had therapy today, so my guts are out.
Yeah, you're ready.
Yeah.
You're ready. And the Enneagram, what I really like about it versus like a Myers-Briggs is really an understanding of yourself in relation to others. And it was meant for the workplace. Are you introverted? Are you extroverted? How do you perceive things, or do you judge? The Enneagram is more about like your internal world and your internal processing.
Okay.
So you learn a lot. And for most people that I've done this with, like maybe everyone actually, when I've walked them through the Enneagram and then we're talking about it, they're like, whoa, I've never heard anything so accurate. So I find that to be really cool.
Okay.
Also, a funny story with my ex-husband, when we both looked up our Enneagrams and then looked up what like the common issues and pitfalls or conflicts that could happen, I was like, I couldn't have described it in my own words better. So it gave me anyways, a lot of clarity and insight, and was like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Well, you're totally
that's really interesting.
You're totally selling me on it. So
okay,
let's get
cool.
this show
All
on
right.
the road.
Okay. So this is, like I said, it's categorizing people into 9 distinct types, each with their own worldview, motivations, core fears, and defense mechanisms. And it's based on the idea that we all have a core motivation and a core fear that shapes the way we live and view the world, the way we interact and engage with others.
That makes sense.
So it's this great tool for personal awareness, both personal and professional. Excuse me. The Enneagram isn't just a static personality type. It encourages personal growth by showing how each type can evolve and become healthier, which I also really like. So, you know, there's a vast difference between a healthy version of yourself and an unhealthy version of yourself. And when I like to guide everyone to the Enneagram Institute, where once you know your type, they have such a wealth of information on how to understand your own personal type and also your type in relation to someone else.
Yeah.
And it will give those levels of like health within each one. So that would be a good thing for anyone to look into if they choose to learn what their Enneagram type is.
Yeah.
If you search Enneagram assessment, a lot of different ones will come up, some more comprehensive than others. I know that there is a paid version on the Enneagram Institute, but for today, we are going to just be doing the quick and dirty, fast and easy. Let's see what comes up.
All right.
The other thing about Enneagram is like you have a main type and then what they call wings. You have each type has 2 wings. Bloop, 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 bloop. And these are like the adjacent types, which help suggest different stressors or growth that kind of colors in more of your personality. But for today, we're just going to look at the main type for you. Now, you can decide as we're doing this if like going through the full assessment and using that in our episode is interesting to people or not. But before we jump into that and start to like just really get into the psyche of James, I want to just briefly list what those 9 different types are. So type number 1 is the reformer or the perfectionist. Okay. Type 2 is the helper. That's me. Type 3 is the achiever. Type 4, the enthusiast. Type 5, the investigator. Type 6, the loyalist. Type 7, the, type 7 is the enthusiast, excuse me. Type 8, the challenger. And type 9, the peacemaker.
Okay, I think I know which one I would be.
Interesting.
But we'll
just
see.
By that, huh?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
But I can't judge a book by its cover.
Did you think enthusiast?
No.
Oh, okay.
I thought, I will, how about I hold it here?
Hold it.
And then I'll tell you, I'll write it down so you don't think, so I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to be like a
like
cheater.
This game. I like a game.
Okay. I got to write a note. Okay.
I feel like I said enthusiast twice. I think I did. The investigator. I feel like that was one maybe I missed. So type 5 is the investigator, 6 the loyalist, 7 the enthusiast, 8 the challenger, 9 the peacemaker.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. You guys get it. Look it up.
Yeah, it's probably
Again,
on Google.
I'm an Enneagram enthusiast, not an expert, but this makes for a fun and interesting
But you weren't the enthusiast. You said you were number 2.
That is one of my wings.
Oh, okay.
Is enthusiast. My other wing is the achiever.
I feel like you every time you say wing, you got to make that sound effect.
boop, boop, boop.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I flap my little wings. If anyone's just listening, you should tune in to check that out on YouTube. Okay, so number one. Now, the difficult thing, actually,
Okay.
about this assessment is that you're forced to pick between just two options.
Okay.
So you might feel like, I'm like 55 and 45. You have to sit with it. And then I think it's helpful to have someone else to like ask for help and give examples.
I'm pretty good at those.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we pause this and then do the assessment?
Yeah, I think we should actually.
'Cause it'll be,
Is it?
We are back from our break. I have finished answering all the questions. Mercifully, we cut away for that because you guys would be bored AF.
Okay. What was your guess?
Achiever.
Achiever. Okay. So your first type is 7.
What is that?
Then 4, then 8. So a type 7 is the enthusiast. That was my guess.
Oh, that was your guess. Yeah.
Yes.
You know me better than me.
And then 4 is the individualist. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. And then 8 is the challenger.
Oh, see, I didn't.
Interesting.
The one I guessed wasn't even one of them.
Okay, so for just like the quick version of the type 7, so we're kind of bouncing around. Maybe okay, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so the strengths of the type 7 are that they have a can-do spirit and are excellent at looking at the bright side. They have a never-ending zest for life that keeps the 7 moving forward and energized. And he is enthusiastic with those around him. There's an adventurous spirit, a thrill for adventure. So kind of jumping into life, and a spontaneity of surprises kind of keeps you on your toes, always planning new adventures. There's a lightheartedness, not letting the heaviness of life's struggles and setbacks keeping them down as much as possible. And a playfulness, a childlike energy. This is all like tapping and like feeling accurate to me so far. There's this curiousness, a fascination happens easily for them. They have this insatiable curiosity to know more about everything. And kind of a jack of all trades. They rapidly can adapt to anything that they set their mind to quickly and pick up new skills and abilities.
Yeah, I feel like that's accurate.
Okay.
What's funny is that like circumstances though have like really diluted a lot of those characteristics, because that's who I have always been my whole life until like this 3-year period recently. But then now I kind of feel restored again to that type. So then I'm sitting here going, well, yeah, like I have been that way most of my life, and like I'm starting to become that way again, but like truthfully I wasn't that way for like 3 years. So it's like, okay, well that's not really fair to like discount it. But anyway. Well,
I think if we look at the different levels of development, right? If we go to the Enneagram Institute, for example, so like some of the lower areas are kind of in flight from self, acting out impulsively rather than dealing with anxiety, feeling like an erratic mood, or feeling like addictive behaviors. It describes different examples than where you might be at your best, and that can make things make more sense. But we haven't even gotten into the weaknesses. So we built you up. We're going to bring you down now. I'm so sorry.
Bring on the weaknesses. Then I'll start to go, yes, now it's, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's more accurate. Yeah.
The Achilles heel for the type 7, that fear that they have is the fear of being stuck in suffering. So what is that? How would we describe that suffering for them? It's often this desire for wanting to escape when things get difficult, when there's discomfort. They can feel easily frustrated and feel kind of chronically unfulfilled or frustrated by their experiences and people. Easily impatient. They can have a monkey mind, restless energy, hyperactive, kind of like jumping from one thing to the next, and a distractibility. Often lost in fantasy, they can often escape into exciting fantasies about the future plans and possibilities. They like to stay on the go, but sometimes they can remain too far on the surface, not quite sinking into their depths. So at their worst, or one of those weaknesses might be a shallowness. They can be a fear of commitment, or a desire, like a fear of not wanting to be trapped or to narrow opportunities. A self-indulgence, or this never-ending pursuit of satisfaction. They might have a hard time saying no to experiences or opportunities. And there can be that kind of need to escape sometimes through indulgent things or addiction. So there's some of the pros and cons.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that to kind of view all that as like a spectrum or something, like, because I'm like, well, I've been that way at times, but I'm not really that way right now. But it's like, okay, well, I think what it's saying is that sometimes when you're like in a weak point, you can tend to divert to those like baselines or something.
Right. Like, and if we were to read a 2, which is mine, we'll go in order a little bit more and give briefer descriptions of each type now that we've bounced a little bit to the 7. Like, what mine is, it doesn't sound the same. It's not going to fit. So let's go in order now. So we're rewind.
Okay.
Type 1, the reformer, the perfectionist. The core motivation of this type is the desire to be good, to be virtuous and correct. Their core fears of being corrupt, defective, or imperfect. A common struggle is perfectionism, self-criticism, and need for control. A quote or something that a type 1 might say is, the most important thing to do is what's right, not what's easy. And in relationships, reformers often want things to be right and fair and may have a hard time relaxing or letting go. In relationships, they can be sometimes on the more critical or judgmental side, but also bring a lot of order and structure to the relationship. So I have a friend who's a type 1. She's one of my dear, dear friends, but sometimes that perfectionism can feel all-consuming and feel like a trap that she has to be really aware of. And that's really, again, like that's an example of where if you're resonating with this, on one hand, it might be like, oh shit, I feel seen right now, like too clearly. Oftentimes people feel a little bit exposed when they hear their Enneagram type. It also gives you an opportunity to understand and look at that sense of perfectionism with a little bit more curiosity.
Yeah, and compassion. Would you say it's fair to say that no one is stuck on whatever personality type there are? Like if you find yourself resonating with perfectionism, that doesn't mean that you're like, we have concluded and stamped you and now that is who you always are, but you can like I evolved from that.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that everything is arranged. Like at their best, a type 1 feels like they can accept what is. They become more transcendentally realistic.
Yeah.
They're able to like take the best action in the moment. They're less rigid.
Yeah.
You know, they can be inspiring and hopeful. So more discerning. So there's like a different wisdom, but at their worst, they might be really like self-critical and critical of others, very judgmental of others. So I think for most people, when you are associated with a type, and anyone who's an Enneagram expert can correct me if I'm wrong, but you really are that type. It doesn't change very much. You might be more influenced by one of those wings, but you have this essential core that is part of your motivation. And describes like those inner fears that you might have. But yeah, then there's this range of health between them. So now, like if we're looking at the type 2, that's me, the helper. The core motivation is this desire to be loved and needed, to feel important in the lives of others. A core fear of being unwanted, unworthy of love. Common struggles are people-pleasing, neglecting personal needs, dependency on others, and seeking approval. A quote that a type 2 might say is, I give and I give, but never seem to get what I need. But in relationships, helpers are warm, nurturing, supportive, but may struggle with boundaries and self-care, often giving too much to others while neglecting their own needs. And I'd say that those are totally aspects that I can see past versions of myself struggling with people pleasing, struggling with healthy boundaries, and understanding that dynamic through the lens of that core motivation and fear of like, I want to be a part of something, connected to other people. I want to feel valued in that way. I also feel pretty darn healthy and balanced right now. Like I'm able to state my needs. I'm okay with people not being happy with me or having a a need be expressed, even if that means someone isn't pleased with it. So that came from a lot of life lessons that taught me that neglecting those things wasn't going to bring me a sense of peace, and peace became my motivation.
Yeah. A lot of these things that we go through that, because like I'm viewing this Enneagram as more of like a starting point for a lot of people who have not really done much self-work or something, right? Like it's a really great identifier, like, oh, this is, and then because like the goal is to be like this leveled up version of yourself eventually. And so, it's really interesting because like you and I have done a lot of self-work, and we can like view something like that and go, yeah, that's who I used to be, and this is who I want to be. But it almost gives you like, it's like a tool for more self-awareness, right?
I think it's a tool for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think for people who are, introducing themselves to personal growth, to mental health, to psychology, it's nice to kind of understand yourself in that way, because we're like, we want to know ourselves. To deeply know yourself means to not just know the perks, but to also really deeply understand what are the pitfalls, what are the areas I can ruminate or get stuck in, how am I perceived by others, but how do I perceive myself too? So I think that there are a lot of layers of understanding the Enneagram, whether you are new to personal growth or whether you're an OG. I find it still really fun and fascinating to use the Enneagram also as a way to understand other people. Like when I have that information, even about you, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, if that's that core fear, then it helps me make sense of like our interactions, our discussions in a totally different light. So for anyone in their interpersonal relationships, I'd say this is a really great tool to have curiosity and compassion towards others, because there's always going to be a relationship where you're like, why would they do that?
Yeah.
I don't get it. And we're only within our own head. I can have deep empathy and compassion for people. That doesn't mean that I might fully understand the narrative that they have running. So,
right.
Yeah, it's good to keep that open mind and to understand from a different perspective, which some people really struggle with.
Yeah.
Okay. The achiever has this core motivation to feel valuable and worthwhile through achievement and success. They have a fear of being worthless, unproductive, or unsuccessful. Workaholism can really be a thing, being too image conscious or competitive. They might have this belief, I am what I achieve, more goal-oriented, driven, and energetic, and they can struggle with vulnerability and emotional intimacy. I feel like there's some people in my life that I can totally see through that lens. And then and on one hand, I'm like, oh, that feels, I see what amazing things they can achieve. And it might help me feel less like, oh, that isn't a motivation that would feel good to me, but I can see why it's a driving force that allows them to achieve things. So it could also be an aid in helping you like not experience as much comparison then, if it's like, oh, okay, that's how they're wired. All right, good for them. Look what they did. The individualist that has this core motivation or desire to understand themselves and express their uniqueness, and a core fear of being insignificant or without identity. I'm kind of just going to like breeze through some of these other ones. Okay. The investigator has a desire to understand the world and gain knowledge, and a core fear of being overwhelmed or incapable, especially emotionally. So they may get detached or isolated, more intellectual. The loyalist, this is another wing of mine. A desire to feel secure and supported in relationships and in the world, with a core fear of uncertainty, being without support or guidance. So there can be some anxiety around that, or seeking reassurance. We already went through the enthusiast, because that is your primary type. And we have the challenger, a desire to be strong, self-sufficient, and protect others, and a core fear of being controlled or vulnerable. So there can also be sometimes issues with aggression or dominance, because that's a real fear of not wanting to feel vulnerability, to feel like someone has power over them. And then the last one is the peacemaker, a desire to maintain peace and harmony in their environment. They have a fear of conflict, disconnection, and being overlooked. There can be then some complacency or avoidance. That's agree to disagree, sweep it under the rug, not really addressing things like they should be. So the Enneagram can really help our relationships by giving us this layer of self-awareness, understanding our core motivations, fears, and habits. You can make more intentional choices in relationships and kind of helps you reduce your reactivity towards other people and have deeper empathy for others and really help with conflict resolution. I think it's fun to do this. It would be a fun activity to do with people who have teens, like their personality is a bit more developed. I think this would be fun to do with, like, it's used in co-working situations and in the workplace.
Or early dating.
Early dating, yeah. Like, oh man, I got the deets on this person. Yeah.
Maybe one of you can be a 6 and the other can be a 9.
Oh dear.
Sorry.
You were waiting to say that.
No, that one came right to me in this moment. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm a little impressed.
Thank you.
There can be really complementary couple dynamics too, and it can help show you different growth paths that really are compatible to support each of your growth but like shared language or behaviors that might come up, and also what areas might be tricky or sticky.
Yeah. I had another 69 joke when you said sticky, but I'm not going to.
Keep that one to yourself. Keep that one to I'm not ready for it.
Yeah,
I'm not ready.
Sorry. This is really interesting. I mean, I don't really have anything to contribute, but like it's nice to like learning a little bit more about myself, because like I remember on dating apps, sometimes you'll come across someone who will say I'm like a 6 and a 3 on, and then I'm like, what the hell does that mean? But then now I know.
Sure. Yeah. So this is going to help bolster your dating game.
Yeah. I could tell everyone that I'm a 7, but I always thought I was a 10.
Oh, it's not even one of the types.
I know. See, it's not achievable. The best you could be is a 9. But 7's not bad. I mean, that's probably.
I don't like this that comparison, because I'm just a 2.
Oh,
I'm
true.
Just a sad little 2 then.
I mean, it's not the same thing,
Thanks for making me feel better.
Yeah.
Again. Thanks for trying.
I feel I would give myself a 7, a solid 7. I don't know, ladies. You tell me.
Oh,
do
dear.
you agree?
Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, I think
don't tell me.
Don't tell me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Instagrams too that are really dedicated to providing deeper insight to these different types and around their motivations and a deeper understanding. Again, like anything that's like Instagram mental health, you have to take it with a grain of salt. It's there to be a tool, but it shouldn't replace mental health therapy. But yeah, I find it to be a really helpful guide about oneself. And when you hear someone in their own voice, even when I say voice, I don't just mean like verbal voice, like blah, 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 I'm speaking right now. But when you read something and it describes you and you're like, whoa, that is totally me.
Yeah.
It's something that feels there's something healing about that. Like, I think we all have a fear of not being understood or not understanding ourselves. And so it can help you just feel more self-assuredness in who you are and see your strengths, which sometimes is difficult for people. Sometimes you can ruminate on the things that you struggle with and not see the things that you really excel at.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to like name something. Like I remember when I first learned about my Tourette's, I had no idea what to call it. I could only describe it to people, and it was way easier to go, oh, this is what it is. Now you can go like do your own research, And so, it's good, and especially like this whole Enneagram. When did they develop it? You said. Like in the 70s?
I thought so. I can double check. I should fact check that.
Okay, not super important. But yeah, I mean, because it kind of serves more as like a spectrum based on...
I was so wrong. It says 97. Oh, no, the Enneagram Institute was from 1997. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Scratch that. Keep going. Okay. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, because it kind of serves as like a spectrum based on, human observation. So like whoever created it was like, oh, this is what I've noticed, the patterns in humans. So there's a whole range and spectrum of where you can land on this. And that's really helpful and useful, It's rather than like a full-on diagnosis and like a final conclusion about somebody. That's not fair. So yeah, I like that. I like a spectrum.
Yeah. I just learned something new about the Enneagram, which is super cool. It actually has pretty ancient roots in past civilizations, including Sufism. So I feel like I always pronounce that incorrectly. And it was meant as a tool for self-development and ancient spiritual teachings. And then in the modern time frame, it was really further developed in the early 1900s by a mystic spiritual teacher who introduced the Enneagram symbol to the Western world. His name was George Gurdjieff. I feel like he might be German. I don't know. German names are tricky.
How's it spelled?
Gurdjieff. Someone let us know. And then it was, again, like modernized, even more brought into modern psychology by Claudia Naranjo. Naranjo. I should not be left to pronounce tricky things. But then like further defining those 9 types and their psychological traits. So that's when it was like brought into more mainstream development. But I think that's super cool that there are these ancient roots to the Enneagram as well that really date back and weave in elements of spirituality and just personal growth and psychology. So it's not a box, but it's trying to force you in, but it's a map to try to guide you through life's journey and understand more about yourself and the people around you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, map. That's a good way to describe it.
There's a lot of people that I've worked with who really struggle to know themselves or even identify what their fears might be, how they might feel. And so this can be, again, like a tool to give them a greater understanding of themselves. I often think, like you were talking about dating, and I'm like, boy, if I were dating again, like what would be the top assessments I would like make someone do? It'd be like, would definitely be the Enneagram. Oh, attachment styles. That would be a good one. I'm going to be like, are you going to break my heart or be a clinger? Or are we going to be cool?
See, it's funny because like I had all these ambitious things when I started dating. Now I just want someone to talk to me. That's it.
How is the dating world out there? Is it rough, James?
No, it's been better lately. But I mean, I'm moving, so I can't.
Sure, you're in a difficult in between.
Yeah. My only requirement now is I want someone to watch Ted Lasso season 4 and Stranger Things season 5 with. Like, if those come out and I'm still alone, I might kill myself.
Wait,
I'm just kidding.
Are they going to have another episode? Yeah, don't joke around about that.
Just
As
joking.
a mental health therapist, I have to say that. But are they coming? But then I'm like, okay, we're done with that. What's going on with Ted Lasso?
Yeah, they're coming out season 4.
No!
They've already announced it.
What?
Yeah, he's gonna be in Kansas and he's gonna coach a girls soccer team.
Whoa, you guys, this is news, hot off the presses for me.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, no. Ted Lasso is like interwoven into our DNA in this show. Oh my gosh,
why didn't you do your due diligence and announce this ASAP, man?
I tell you,
disappointed.
I'm disappointed that you didn't know that.
Okay, fine. I'll take it. I've been deep into Severance.
Oh,
Severance,
I've
you
never
guys.
seen it.
Actually, today is the season finale.
Oh man,
season finale.
Well, how do you feel about Stranger Things?
I'm here for it.
Have you seen all the episodes?
Yeah.
Okay, so season 5 is coming out. They're making it right now.
Okay.
It's going to be the final season.
God, we got to wait so long.
I know. Well, the thing is, it's going to be later this year. I think Ted Lasso comes out next year or something, but Stranger Things will be late this year. And I feel the pressure because I've watched every season alone. But I've gone and rewatched it when I've dated, you know. But I mean, when it's fresh, I want somebody to be there to like absorb it and take it all in at the same time as me. Okay. Is that so much to ask for, women? Pressure's on.
I feel like a lot of people like Ted Lasso, so this should be doable for you. So this is the assessment that you are wanting.
Yeah. That's all I care about. Anything else, you can be toxic, whatever. You can cheat on me as long as you do those 2 things.
Oh my gosh. Oh dear. No.
That'll cheat on me.
Yeah. Okay. But this is a deal breaker. You're hearing it now, folks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. I've lowered my standards.
Oh God.
Because I'm desperate.
I'm desperate. Oh dear. And I mean, I think this move for any dear listeners, any delightful humans, there will still be content that we're producing, and we're still developing what that looks like as things shift and change, but you don't have to worry about that. Episodes with James and I will be sprinkled into what we do, and change isn't always bad.
Yeah.
Change can be fun.
And you and Zach might end up moving over there too.
Who knows? Who knows where the breeze might take us?
That's right.
You're fishing. You're fishing for us to move over.
Please.
Oh.
Please. I'll get it all ready for you guys.
Oh, but
I'll have somebody with me at that point that will watch Ted Lasso. We can all watch it together.
We love Ted Lasso, so I'm here for it.
Okay, maybe you guys can come over for like a month and just watch all the. Well, it wouldn't have to be a month, a week, and we could all watch Ted Lasso.
Let's binge it. It's so good. You're right. Half of this has been an ad for Ted Lasso now.
Yeah. Cast me too, Ted. Jason Sudeikis. Yeah. Okay, enough of that.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Thank you so much, Delightful Humans, for tuning in to this episode. I'm also so excited about next week's episode. It's going to be an interview that I did with Dr. Amanda Downey.
Okay.
And she is so exciting. She is so knowledgeable, and she has a lot of information to share on some of the very cool research that she's been doing around psychedelics and mental health. So please stay tuned for next week's episode and some of the more juicy episodes coming up. And if you would like to stay updated on the things that we're doing, please check out my mailing list. You can go to the link or go to coachkeilani.com. You can also like and subscribe. It would mean the world to us. About 90% of our listeners and viewers are not subscribed if you are on YouTube, so please do that. It will mean the world to us, and we have extra content there. And if you want to support what we're doing, because this is our passion. It is fueled from passion and love of the people and love of these interactions and sharing what is on our hearts, sharing a message of curiosity and compassion. You can go ahead and buy us a coffee, and that'd mean a lot. There's going to be a link in the description and in the description of our YouTube channel. So thank you so much once again, Delightful Humans, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.